Hello students, welcome to the course on Basic Electronics Engineering and the course code is EC101. This is the course for BTech, first semester, CSE, IT and FT students and second semester EC students. Myself, Dr. Surojit Bashak, Assistant Professor of EC Department, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. And this is my official email address. Today we are going to start lecture number 5 from the third module, that is bipolar junction transistor. In the last class we have covered different types of configurations like common emitter, common base and common collector configurations, and we also discuss about the concept of early effect or base width modulation. Today we are going to start biasing of a transistor and stabilization of BJT. And this topic, the lesson objective of this topic is develop the capability to analyze and design simple circuits containing nonlinear elements such as transistors using the concept of load lines, operating points and incremental analysis. And this topic is mapped with CO number 4. So let us start lecture number 5 from the third module, that is bipolar junction transistor, with the topic of transistor biasing. The first question naturally comes in our mind that why biasing is required. So biasing of a bipolar junction transistor is required to reproduce faithfully and accurately the input signal variation at the output. So faithfully and accurately. I am showing you the meaning of faithfully and accurately. What does it actual meaning? When we discuss about load line and operating point, it will be more clear. So what is load line? Load line analysis is a simple and convenient method to find out the collector current for various collector to emitter voltage. Let us consider an NPN transistor in common emitter configuration which is biased with two DC sources. One is VBB and other is VCC. And this is the output characteristics curve, that is collector current IC versus in common emitter configuration. So it is IC versus VCE, that is collector to emitter voltage. Now apply KVL to collector emitter loop, which is, if we apply the KVL, which is VCE equal to VCC minus IC into RL. Now it may be observed from this expression that VCE is maximum and whose value is equal to VCC when IC is 0. See, it is a curve that IC versus VCE. So when VC IC IC is 0, then VCE is maximum value, which is VCC. And this point B is the cutoff point as the collector current is 0 at B. Thus, VCE cutoff is represented as, say, VCC. Again, it is seen from the expression when IC is maximum, when VCE is 0. So the collector current IC is maximum when VCE equal to 0, and this IC maximum collector current is VCC by RL, and it is represented as point A here, which is IC equal to VCC by RL when VCE equal to 0. And this point is called, point A is called saturation point, because this point lies in saturation region. So the straight line joining the saturation point and cutoff point B is called the load line. So what is load line? The straight line joining the saturation point A and cutoff point B is called basically the load line. So naturally the load line intersects at some points to the output characteristics curve. So the intersecting point of the load line and output collector characteristics curve is known as Q point or operating point. So the intersecting points are known as Q points. So these Q points here are represented as 3 Q points. So one is M, Q, and N. So 3 Q points are present. For different values of base current. Now, what is the optimum Q point? Which one is considered as an optimum Q point and why? The optimum Q point Q is located at the middle point of DC load line AB. So this middle point is called the optimum Q point. Why? To obtain exact and faithful amplification, the Q point should be located well within the active region of the transistor characteristics. The collector current and collector to emitter voltage corresponding to the Q point, that is ICQ and VCEQ, these 2 points, determine the operating currents and voltages of the transistor. The supply voltages and resistances in the circuit are chosen properly to obtain the desired Q point, or which is called the quiescent values. Q point, that means quiescent point. So the quiescent values of currents and voltages to operate the transistor in active region. This process of giving proper supply voltage and resistance to obtain the desired Q point is called biasing, and the corresponding circuits used are known as biasing circuit. Okay, so this is very much important. What is load line? What is Q point? Why Q point is choosing at the middle point of the DC load line? These questions are very much important. Okay, now clear why you have need to bias the transistor, why transistor biasing is required. I think now it is clear. So next is the bias stability. Actually, bias stability means stability of the operating point or Q point. Even if Q point is selected from the biasing circuit, it needs to remain stable or unchanged. If the Q point is unstable, it shifts either towards A or towards B, due to which the output signal gets actually distorted. Some portions may be in cutoff region or some portions may be in saturation region. So thus the stability of Q point is an essential requirement for faithful amplification of the signal. So what are the factors affecting the stability of Q point? First is the change of temperature, causing variation of reverse saturation current ICO base to emitter voltage VBE and collector emitter current gain beta of the transistor. And another is the replacement of a transistor by another of the same type, leading to variation of transistor parameters. So first we discuss about the change of temperature or temperature variation, how temperature variation can change the collector current. So collector current of a transistor in CE mode is represented as, say, IC is equal to beta IB into 1 plus beta ICBO, which is denoted as beta IB into 1 plus beta ICO, where beta is the common emitter current gain, IB is the base current, and ICO is the actually reverse saturation collector current. Here ICBO is abbreviated as ICO. Now the collector leakage current ICO is strongly dependent on temperature. For every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, the magnitude of ICO gets doubled. Now the base current, which is also affected by the temperature. How? So the base current IB is represented as VBB minus VBE by RB. the base supply voltage VBB and base resistance RB are independent of temperature. But base emitter voltage VBE decreases by 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade rise in temperature. Therefore, IB increases with rise in temperature. And the third is the common emitter current gain beta also increases with increase in temperature. So it is evident that the collector current IC increases as the temperature increases, since all the variables here beta IB and ICBO increases. This causes the operating point or Q point to shift upwards along the load line towards the saturation point. And another is the replacement of transistor by another of the same type. The values of beta and VBE vary from one transistor to another of the same type. This leads to shifting the Q point for equal changes of in IB. The spacing of the collector characteristics increases or decreases as beta increases or decreases, which is shown in this figure. Here we have assumed that beta is larger for the replaced transistor. The operating point shifts from Q1 to Q2, even if IB is maintained constant at IB2 by biasing circuit. The shifted Q point may be unsatisfactory since the replaced transistor may find itself in the saturation region. Okay. So stability factor, you have to determine the stability factor. The stability factor may be defined, which is denoted as say S, may be defined as the rate of change of collector current with respect to reverse saturation collector current ICO, keeping both the base current and common emitter current gain beta is constant. So thus S equal to del IC by del ICO or DIC by DICO or delta IC by delta ICO, which is same. So where beta and IB is kept constant. The lower value of stability factor, that means the less of the instability of the Q point. So stability factor, the value of the stability factor should be high. In other words, high value of stability factors indicates poor stability, while the lower value of S indicates good stability. So in this sense, S may also be called instability factor, not the stability factor. The value of the stability factor is always greater than unity, and its lowest value is unity. Closer the value of S to unity, better will be the stability of Q point. So, the collector current of a common emitter configuration is given by IC is equal to beta IB plus 1 plus beta into ICO. Now differentiating both sides with respect to IC and taking beta as constant, and after some simplification of the mathematical expression, finally we get the stability factor equal to 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta into del IB by del IC. So the stability factor is for a particular type of biasing circuit is obtained by first determining the relationship between IB and IC and then use this expression. So in that way, you can easily determine the stability of a particular biasing circuit. Now, what are the various methods of transistor biasing? The common methods used for transistor biasing are fixed bias, collector to base bias, self bias, which is very important, or voltage divider bias, base bias with emitter feedback, and emitter bias. There are total 5 types of biasing methods or transistor biasing are present. So in the next class, we discuss one by one for biasing circuits and discuss about its stability factor. Okay, so let us stop here and thank you. Now I am ending the today's session.